Server management. That's the lesson about how you can manage your server through the tool called Server Manager. Server Manager is one of the administrative tools to perform many tasks, and those are like adding roles, adding or removing features. Now, meaning adding roles or features, like if you wanted to um, make your server as like a domain controller. Those are the type of roles that you will add to it. If you want to make your server a DNS server, you want to add those higher roles, assign those higher roles to your server. And that is all done by the server manager. Local server properties will cover about the events, services, analyzer, tool menus. And what we will learn in this lesson is everything about Server Manager and all the features it has to offer. Now, some of the things that I am covering for you are repetitive. I know that. But the reason I'm keep on doing different ways so that you would know with your eyes closed that, oh, this thing needs to be done, I know where to go. I know where to go in Server Manager. So it's just like if you have an iPhone, right? And if I'm making you go through every tool, every feature, every app that comes pre-built with the iPhone, you will be so much expert in iPhone that you will be able to actually stand in an iPhone or Apple store and troubleshoot issues, everyday issues of people who experience them. Just like that, I am trying to make you expert in Windows Server Management. So this way, if you want to access Control Panel, if you want to access Windows Setting, if you want to access Server Manager, if you want to access Server Management tools, accessories, all those things should be on your fingertips. Okay, now enough talking. Let me go into my Windows machine and we will see how we could access the Server Manager. Now, if you remember when you first time you build a system, the first thing that opens up when you start your computer, that is your Server Manager. And why we don't get it now, because we disabled the Service Manager, and we did that. I showed it to you in the earlier videos, in the earlier lessons. So now, to access the Server Manager, always go to the Start menu, and you see right here it says Server Manager. It's that simple. So you remember the screen, right? This is a newer screen that's been added lately. A lot of things can be done now on this screen, and I will show you, I will take you one by one and see how things could be done using this Server Manager dashboard. Now, I know you could actually go into click, click, click and everything. I have no doubt about it. But are you actually going to go and do it? But since I am here to teach you, and I will definitely take any questions if you have after going through this lesson, if something that I have missed. Okay, anyway. Now, the first thing when you open up a service manager, I told you when you go to manage and there is this server manager properties, and we have checked this mark. It says do not start server manager automatically at log on. Remember, every time we would log in, it would start server manager. Sometimes it get annoying. I don't like it personally, so I keep it checked so it doesn't show up again. So anyway, if you want to see it every time you log in, you could go ahead and uncheck it. That's fine. Now, when on this dashboard, the quick start, what's new, learn more, these are the few new things that are added. So in quick start, there are few tasks that are given to you right there, right at the door. And the first one is add roles and features. Second, add other servers to manage. Meaning, if you wanted to make this server like a main centralized server and you wanted to add other servers to this server so you could manage them, you could use that feature. Create a server group. If you want to create a server group, you could also do that on the same side when we created the users and groups. Connect this server to cloud services. What is the cloud for Microsoft? Do you guys know that? Any guesses? It's Azure. So it doesn't mean that you are stuck to that Microsoft cloud. You could also connect your server to Amazon cloud or other cloud services that are out there. Okay, so this is about configuring local server. So if you wanted to add roles and features, um, what are the different types of roles and features that are available to you? So let's go ahead and click add roles and features. And you'll see it has this. Before you begin, this wizard helps you install roles, role services, or features. You determine which roles, role services, or features to install based on computing needs of your organization, such as sharing documents or hosting a website. So basically, you could even set up a Samba server or sharing file system or create a web server with these roles and features. Anyway, so it's just a message before you begin. You could click on this, say skip this page by default, meaning every time you click on this add server roles and features, this message is not going to show up. But that's okay, it's really up to you, as I said. Now, if you notice, let me make this a little smaller. Sorry guys, my window is not that big. Okay, right here. I just maximize it. So if your screen has a high resolution, then this entire window is probably going to look very small for you. So you could change this resolution as well if you want to, by going to the personalization, and you remember we covered that, and you go to theme and um, desktop icon, advanced setting. No, sorry. Uh, Background. What was the resolution? It was I think on the display setting. Sorry, yes, in the display setting you could change the display resolution. Oops. Advanced display setting, and here you could change the resolution. I have it 800 by 600. The reason I have it 800 by 600, so I could have everything fit into my one single window, so I do not have to scroll up or down. You could change it based on your desire. If you are okay with scrolling up, that's fine with me. Anyway, it was just a quick thing, but if I don't want to derail from our subject. Okay, so it says before you continue, verify the following task has been completed. Administrative account has a strong password. Network settings such as static IP address are configured. We do not have static IP configured right now, but that will something we'll cover later on. But if you want to check if you have a static IP, you could just click on it and click on this little icon that says Internet Access. Click on Network Setting, and you see it says change network adapter options, and this is the Ethernet adapter. Right click, properties, TCP IP4 properties, and you see it says obtain an IP address automatically. It means by default it is set to get an IP through the DHCP. Okay, let me go back. I don't want you to confuse you furthermore. Okay, let me close this out. Okay, so network settings, static IP, and so and so. Anyway, so click next if you know what features and roles you're going to install. Select the installation type, role-based or feature-based installation. If you are installing something on your clients, on your other remote computers, you could just select this one. Remote desktop services installation is required. Install require role services virtual desktop VDI to create virtual machines based on session-based desktop, but we are creating roles and users on local computers, so role-based or feature-based installation. So click next. Now it is going to ask you the name of the server, which server to pick. By default we only have one server, so you see this is the name of our server. If you wanted to change the name of your server right now, this is the time you could go ahead and change. Changing the name later on is going to be very hard because there might be some registry setting that will be set up, so it's better you change it now. Okay, so select a server from the server pool. It's already selected. Click next. Okay, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. See the list of server roles: Active Directory certificate services, domain services, Active Directory lightweight directory services. This is something we'll cover later on. Of course, definitely I want you to know how to create and how to deploy Active Directory and how to manage it. DHCP server, DNS, fax server. Hey, Imran, you just mentioned DHCP server. Didn't we already have a DHCP server running so our machine got an IP address? No. Why? Because our modem or your modem in your home is actually a DHCP server which has given an IP address of this machine. If you want your server, which is this server, to give out IP address to other clients, then yes, you will select this one. DNS server, we'll cover that later on. Fax server, other roles that are available, remote desktop services, web server. This is a web server, like if you wanted to set up your website. This runs on IIS. I was going to say Apache, but Apache could run on Windows as well, but I don't know what other things that are required to have it installed. But by default, there is IIS services that is available to you, so pick that one if you want to do web server. Again, we'll cover that later on in our advanced administration module. A lot of things to cover in advanced, guys. So just be prepared. Okay, so if you know what you are installing, click that and click next. If you do not know what you are installing, or if you do not have that list that you are looking for in the roles, click next, because Windows has separated the roles and features in a different sections. So click next, and features are available in the features section. So if you wanted to have .NET Framework feature installed, if you wanted to have Direct Play, I/O Quality Service, those are little features or packages, I would say, that you could install. Now, if you notice, there is this Telnet client. What is a Telnet client? Telnet client is like a command that you will have available on your computer to telnet to another machine. Usually, the telnet is used to actually log into Unix or Linux machines. I am going to pick this telnet program because it's a very small feature that you could install on your computer. I do not want to pick other stuff because I will cover them later on, as I said. I promise. The reason I'm picking that right now is since we are already covering the server manager, so that's why I want to pick this. So before I install this, go to Start, Search menu, and go to Command Prompt, and I want you to type telnet. You see, it says telnet is not recognized as an internal or external command, operable program, or batch file, which means Windows does not know what telnet is because it does not have that feature installed, guys. So what we'll do, we'll pick that and install that feature. Restart the destination server automatically if required. We are not installing on the destination server. If you want to install your own servers, you could also pick that. That's fine. If a restart is required, the server restart automatically without additional notification. Do you want to allow automatic restart? I am not 100% sure if this requires automatic restart, but that's fine. I'll go ahead and click yes and click install. Now this is going to install Telnet client, and it should be fairly fast because it doesn't require a lot of packages to be installed. Alright, so anyway, while it's going through the feature installation, I will go back to our server manager. Oops, right here. And now as you know, we have covered adding roles and features. That's how you install roles and features. If I remember correctly, we had in earlier versions of Windows Server, I'm not sure which version, if you wanted to add a feature or roles, I remember I had a trouble where those type of things were not available like that. If your disk was not inserted. So now, regardless if your disk is inserted or not, these roles or features are already there for you, but it's just not enabled or not installed. But they are downloaded somewhere in your server. Okay, so let's check real quick if our feature is installed. Installation succeeded on Lab Windows. Perfecto! Okay, let's close it. And now let's go back to our Windows command prompt. And now I want you to type telnet again and hit enter. And you'll see it says, Welcome to Microsoft Telnet Client. Escape characters, control so and so. That's okay. You see, now it recognized that command, Telnet. Telnet is a little program, a little feature that probably has one little package with it or one little service with it that you could install, and then you could run that command. So let's exit out. Sorry, you have to do type quit to quit out of telnet prompt, and then type exit to exit out of DOS prompt. Okay, so add other servers, we covered that. Create a server group and connect to the server. So this is about the main dashboard. Let's go to local server. If you want to know the local server information, the work group, the remote management, some information that you want to know about your local server, the time it is configured, the system processes, the system memory, all that information. See right here, 3 gig installed memory, disk space, the CPU can also be viewed here. Events that happened in the system, these are the same events that you could see while you go to the event viewer. We already talked about event viewers. All servers. Now, if you have multiple servers that you are managing from this server, then you will see those multiple servers here and the events here. Files and storage services. If you want to create newer file system, newer volumes, you will see them here right now. We have only C drive and the volume, this one, which is a reserved volume that is attached. So C drive is for 50 gig, as you know. Disks, we have one disk, again 50 gig. Storage pool, if you want to carve out additional pool and you wanted to share that to with the different server, then you could actually create it over here. Let's go back to our server right here, dashboard. Now this is what I have already covered. As you add the roles and features, they will show up right here, roles and servers group. It says role 1, server groups 1, server total 1. So we have one of them. And what are those? If you could go to manageability, you'll see file server storage. This one we don't have. Events performance, you could also access there. Same thing, services, if you want to access the services that are running. Download map manager, Google update services. These are the services that are stopped right now, but why they are showing here? Let me see why. Maybe because it is stopped, that's what it's complaining about, that this service, kernel power service, is not running, I believe. Anyway, so these are basically events and services and the servers. Oops, sorry. And the servers that are out there, and server roles and server groups. Okay, so now let's go up there, and there's this little flag here. It says notification. If you are adding roles and features, all those roles and features will show up here, and the feature and whatever that you install. Manage the menu, add roles and features. Same thing as it is showing up here. Remove roles and features. If you have installed a role or feature, you could remove it by just clicking in the role and features here. Now you're probably thinking, hey, how come I cannot remove that feature or role through the control panel? It's a fair question. Let's go to control panel and click on uninstall a program. And you see, Imran, wait a second, how come you just installed Telnet, but it is not showing up here on the program? Because the reason is that because it is a built-in feature of Windows that does not show up in the list of programs. Most likely the programs that's going to show up here are the third-party tools that you install. So if you wanted to remove, you could use this remove role and feature. Click next, 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 and you'll see you come down and you see I have this Telnet client connected. Check, uncheck it, next, next, and it will remove it. But for now, just leave it, cancel it. Manage, add server, create groups, so same thing we covered about. Tools, this is the important ones. This is what I wanted to cover as well. Component services, what are the component services? These are the component services which has the event viewer, which has the event viewer we already covered about. Services, what are the services running in Windows machine? We covered that already. Computer management, if you wanted to add a user, remember we went there to local user and add a user, we did that here. Now task scheduler, we covered that as well. The task scheduler, we could go in here and create a task through computer management, or you could just type it here, task manager. Events, share folder, performance. If you want to see your system performance, you could come here and open resource monitor. This is the same resource monitor that we covered when we went to task manager or taskbar. Click on task manager, performances, and we came down to this performance manager. And you see right here it says open resource monitor. See, it looks the same? Yes. So there are many different ways you could open up programs or features or anything that computer manages through different ways. Device manager, it tells you exactly what is inside of your computer and outside of your computer attached. Storage, disk management. The storage is a big topic. We will cover the storage topic when we get to the module. I believe it's 8. It's all about storage and the application services. Close this down, then go back to tools, defragmentation and optimize disk. If you deleted some files and you still haven't recovered your disk space, you will run this tool. It will defragment your disk and bring your space back. It'll take some time. Disk cleanup, pretty much the same, works the same way, but the difference between disk cleanup is disk cleanup again. If you have something in the cookies or some cache disk, it will also clean up that as well. Whereas this defragment will actually go into the disk, and any block or sector that are not matching with the files or that are not exactly on the same track, it will actually bring those blocks back to its track. I hope you know how the system writes information on the disk. It writes in sectors, in blocks. So then this defragmentation will actually go into the disk and clean things out for you. Event viewer, we know that SCSI initiator if you're attaching any external disk. Local security policy, this is cloud services, this is database services, performance monitor, print management, resource monitor services, system configuration. These are the system configuration. If you want your system to start at boot time and run certain programs, you go into the startup. The startup items are not enabled. Okay, so we don't have any enabled system. So if you go to normal startup, you can also start up your computer in diagnostic mode. Boot, if you wanted to change any boot advanced option, you could change it here. Services, these are the services that are running, and these are the services that also start up during your boot time. If you, let's say, if you pick this service, which is stop right now, or let's say pick this one, right? If you pick the services running, base filtering engine, you uncheck it. It means when you boot your system, this service will not start at boot time. So let's keep it enabled. I'm just gonna cancel this out again. I'll go back in just to check system configuration again and go to services. So this is about service startup. I covered that. Tools, if you have certain tools, tool name, tool description, what is the location of that information. If you wanted to know where I could run the programs, you could also, this is the command, a script that will bring up your programs. If you wanted to use the same thing, let's say copy, go to your C drive and paste it and hit enter. See, it brought your programs and features. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that a cool feature? You could do that same thing with all the programs or tools that you have here. It'll tell you the location of your information. So if you want to start the perfmon, you could go back in here and run, and it will start your performance monitor. So you could also create little scripts if you wanted to start that by default. Okay, so let's cancel out from here and go back to tools, task scheduler, Windows firewall, and advanced security. Windows firewall, right now I have Windows firewall on. If I leave it off, then if someone is trying to connect to my machine, then it will refuse it, and it will also go through a lot of checking when we go to the internet. So what I do usually, I'll go to Windows Firewall properties and I'll disable Windows Firewall. But make sure if you are in a corporate environment and your machine is facing internet, then I would prefer that you leave it off. But if you are in a lab environment, or if you are in an environment which is behind so many networking firewalls, then you could actually leave it off as well. So inbound rules, these are the inbound rules. If your firewall is running, you could specify that as well. We'll cover firewall later down the road in other sections. So for now, private, public, leave everything off and apply. Okay, so going back to the tools, and then you have PowerShell, different backups, the Windows Server backup if you want to perform backup. Remember when we went to the backup, it says you cannot perform a single backup scheduler regular because we do not have a backup installed in our computer. And how do we have to install our backup? I will leave that task for you to add a feature and role and install backup on your server. Then view, if you wanted to change the view of your dashboard, if you want to make it bigger, you could change it. I'll keep it 75, small one. And if you have any information, if you need more help on Windows Server Manager, you can find it right here. Alright guys, a lot of things that we covered. I hope you understand every single thing that Server Manager has to offer.